RITC Cybersecurity, empowering businesses with robust cybersecurity protection.
Welcome to the Ciphered Reality Podcast from RITC Cybersecurity, small businesses partner in proactive cybersecurity. I'm Mike Rotundo here with my co-host, as always, Mari Cherry. We are going to unravel the mysteries of cybersecurity one bite at a time, from digital heists to hacker exploits. We uncover online threats and strategies to stay ahead. Yeah. Whether you're an IT pro, business owner, or just safeguarding your personal stuff, this is your guide to the cyber world. Today, we're going to go through some cybersecurity news and discuss what's the topic, Mari?
IR plans. Incident
IR plans.
response plans.
So
Yeah.
I rely on Mari for that because, as usual, I did not look at the schedule. So it's the Ciphered Reality, Not Enough Sleep, Half-Assed Podcast.
Just spite and caffeine. That's
Yep.
what we got going on.
But we are professionals, ladies and gentlemen. Please keep your hands and feet inside the car at all times during the podcast, lest you get hurt.
There should be a warning.
It's like cigarettes.
Right. Okay. News. First one. How the browser became the main cyber battleground. So, I'm new to this.
Okay.
What was it before?
The endpoint,
Oh, okay.
the user's computer. So, and mainly like the Outlook client or the mail client.
Like majority of the time.
Yeah. So the way it evolved, it started with frontal assaults on the firewalls because they weren't very good at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, looking for ports, running Nmap scans, doing these scans to see where the vulnerabilities are. And so, looking for exposed web servers in the DMZ. And then when that stuff started getting really hard and the equipment to make it really hard got cheaper and easier for everybody to afford, firewalls weren't $100,000. They were
People learn to
$5,000.
protect their own
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
So then the hackers figured out that really most companies are really like eggs. They have this hard shell, the inside's a yolk. So, so they would start attacking the users, which have always been your weakest link. Usually it was configuration, but then that's where the evolve of phishing, quishing, smishing, ishing of any kind evolved. And now, because phishing training is going on and people are getting trained not to click, now they have to evolve into a more technical hack, which is going to involve the browser.
Got it. Okay.
So,
Well, all right. So anyway, this is from The Hacker News.
cool.
It said until recently, the cyber attacker methodology behind biggest breaches of the last decade or so has been pretty consistent. Compromise an endpoint, like you just said, via software exploit or social engineering a user to run malware on their device. Social engineering a user to run malware on their device. I ran that together. Find ways to move laterally inside the network and compromise privileged identities. What does that mean?
Well, move laterally is if I were to steal your ID, I would go ahead and try and move sideways into other access. So I would try and then increase my access over and over again. So I compromise your endpoint. Now I'm going to compromise an endpoint and then go to a server. And then it's not traditional lateral because lateral is sideways. What you're trying to do is basically upgrade your permissions.
Got it. Okay. And then repeat as needed until you can execute your desired attack, usually stealing data from the file shares, deploying ransomware, or both. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. I guess I'm still learning, obviously.
No, it is interesting. I mean, I think those are going to stay around there because they're tried and true, but I think the browser is the new battlefield.
A song popped into my head. Okay. There was something else I pulled from the article that I thought was interesting. These attacks are so successful because while attackers have moved with the changes to enterprise IT, security hasn't really kept up. And I was like, that's a bummer.
Yep.
That sucks. So we should probably talk about that at some point, maybe figure out why that is. Also, I think part of it could be the next article, though. We'll get into that later. But
It could be, yeah. But yeah, no, I think what happens is a lot of people get complacent. They're like, "Oh, I just bought this, and our phishing doing is this. Our phishing, results are this, and everything's patched, so we're good."
yeah, right?
Yeah, you got to evolve. You got to look at actual threats. You got to look at intel.
Mm-hmm. I that is I'm I want to dive into this deeper though. Why is it that security hasn't really kept up? What is the deal with that? We don't need to get into it right now, but I mean, unless you want to, we
We can talk about it a little bit. I mean, it's basically you have, some of it is the dilution of resources.
can.
You've got people that don't have the experience necessary leading organizations that they really aren't qualified to. You have a shortage. Everybody's trying to run lean, so
Yeah.
they don't have enough resources. A lot of it is over dependence on tools, and so they're reliant on tools for everything they're doing, and they're not. They've taken away expertise and being able to analyze what happens and use your gut, for lack of a better word. Back in the Lotus Domino days, I looked at logs by hand. So,
What do you mean?
yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, you would literally pull the log up and start and it got to the point where we were really good at it, where you just scan through the log, you just roll the mouse and it would just scroll, scroll, scroll until you saw what you were looking for, or you would, try and search inside Lotus Domino logs, which wasn't always the most fruitful thing, but you would look for certain error messages, you would look for certain things, and you would be able to find. I mean, that's the way it was in Microsoft for a long time too.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, I would have fallen asleep so many times.
yeah, that's why we lived on Diet Coke and beef jerky and chewing tobacco and lattes. So,
Keep you sped up,
yep,
wound up.
yeah,
Well, the Red Bull is not cutting it this morning, so
no,
I guess I need to try some chewing tobacco.
there you go. Copenhagen, long cut, preferably.
No thanks. It's
Sure.
okay. Nope, I'm good. Uh,
We don't have a drug testing policy, so methamphetamine is probably fine too.
oh my gosh.
Kidding, of course.
Okay, that's funny. Good to
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
We'll
you
just
can come at me with as a coked up
file that
spider
one.
monkey anytime you want.
Cool. Cool. Great. We're looking for interns. Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
You won't check your
Um,
teeth.
I might. I
Yeah.
might. No, I'm teasing. Okay. That's all I had for that one. Uh,
It's
I
actually a really
was,
interesting story.
yeah, I was a little bummed about this security not keeping up, but what? Well, then tell me what stood out to you.
I just think it's interesting that the way they've transmuted these attacks from being a user base to actually they're subverting the technology now. Now they're downgrading OAuth, they're downgrading the SMS message, so because
Hmm.
a lot of times when you log into your Google client or we use YubiKeys, which
Yep.
are pretty bulletproof, but if you don't have a YubiKey, that'll allow you other options, right? And if it can push you down to that other option and get you down to backup codes or something like that, then it can go
Hmm.
ahead and get you to exploit. So SMS, because of SIM swapping, is hackable. And
Hmm.
now they're going after these methods that everybody's considered bulletproof. Oh, I've got two-factor with SMS. Well, nope, that don't work anymore. All right, well
Yeah.
now I've got an authenticator app. Nope, that doesn't work anymore. You know,
Authenticator apps
yes.
do not.
No, you should use them. I mean, they're better than SMS. It's just,
Sure.
what's less worse.
Got it.
But if you can
The,
force you to a downgraded OAuth method or something like that, then that's what they're going to do.
I got it. I
Yeah.
was gonna say the lesser of two weevils. Have you seen Master and Commander?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good movie.
Anyway, lesser of two weevils. Um,
There were no computers in that movie.
there were none. They were literally talking about weevils.
Yeah.
Um, moving on though, talking about weevils, you are what you eat. Sorry.
Yeah.
Our next security news story: why your AI security tools are only as strong as the data you feed them. I thought that I knew that. But sometimes you hear something phrased a
Mhm.
different way and it clicks better. It just makes more sense.
Mhm.
That was this.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Because you hear it all along. We've been talking about it so much lately, obviously.
Yeah.
But anyway, the junk food problem in cybersecurity. So they gave this example. This is also from the Hacker News. Imagine a triathlete who spares no expense on equipment, carbon fiber bikes, hydrodynamic wetsuits, precision GPS watches, but fuels their training with processed snacks and energy drinks. Like we were just talking.
Yeah, exactly.
We
Yeah.
whoops.
Yeah.
So apparently there's multiple junk food
So
problems in
Frosted Flakes is
cybersecurity.
not the breakfast of champions.
No, and I'm going off on a little tangent here. My kids love cereal, and I don't. I mean, I love it, but I don't want to send them to school with just cereal. So I'm like, if you have cereal, you have to either have like a protein shake, like a homemade protein shake, or you have to have like eggs, like something. And
Hmm.
every time they're just, anyway, whatever. But
Understood.
okay, tangent.
That never happens here.
No, no. So despite the premium gear, their performance will suffer because their foundation is fundamentally flawed.
Hmm.
Ugh. Triathletes see nutrition as the fourth discipline of their training that can have a significant impact on performance and can even determine race outcomes. Okay, so how could we apply that to AI while we're trying to use it?
Well, remember a couple of weeks ago, we did a story about adaptive AI versus the pre-trained AI.
Mm-hmm.
So the pre-trained AI is going to be pulling from a database of what's expected to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And the adaptive is going to learn based on what's happening. And I think we need a blend. I don't think there's a one or the other. But I took this a different way. And this kind of goes back to our first story.
Okay.
People are far too reliant on tools. They're not investing in their people. Now, AI tools are valuable, but you need to, going back to my reading Lotus Domino logs, you have to be able to look at activity and go, okay, so if this happened, then this happened. That's what this means this. But all you're getting is a tool looking at it that's not putting that data together, or you have no idea what the user actually did.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have context. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have that intuitive ability, because all you've been trained on is your tool, you've never actually worked on a computer, you've never actually, answered help
Mm-hmm.
desk calls, you've never done any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
You're not going to be trained to do this stuff. So if you're 100% reliant on tools, you're done,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. That reminds me of something, but we're not going to get into
Okay.
that. Sorry.
Something that
Um,
might get us banned by the FCC.
no,
No.
no. It just doesn't apply.
Okay.
They listed the hidden costs of legacy data diets. So they said we're living through the first wave of an AI revolution, uh, which I thought was kind of fun. So
Yeah.
far, the spotlight has focused on models and applications, said Greg Bell from Corelight, Chief Strategy Officer. That makes sense, is what he
Mhm.
says, because the impacts for cyber defense are going to be huge.
Right.
That makes sense. But I think it's starting to be a dawning realization that ML and Gen AI tools are gated by the quality of data they consume.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like we've been telling some of our clients,
Mhm.
look at the source.
Yeah.
Even go
Yeah.
ahead and use it, that's fine, but
Yeah.
make sure that your ChatGPT or whatever you're using is pulling information from a reputable source. And you
Yeah.
can ask it to give you the resources that it pulled the information from, then you can go look and read through it yourself. That does cut down on a lot of searching, for
Mhm.
example, like that could be really useful. So you can still utilize it, but just don't heavily rely on it for all
Yeah.
all of the information.
Yeah. I think a lot of the AI tools too are round peg into square holes in that,
Oh,
there's one tool that we're looking at and probably will be bringing on live, that was written specifically for what it does versus
right.
taking somebody else's AI and trying to, hammer it into the hole that you needed it
Hmm.
in to
Hmm.
make it do what you want it to do. You have to write it from the ground up. You can't make somebody else's AI that's made to answer questions on the web analyze technology necessarily. It has to be built for that.
Hmm. Yeah, that
So,
makes sense. So you would say that that program has a decent diet.
yes, I would say it has a relatively decent diet. Yes. I'm
Good
hoping that it's
foundation.
trained very well. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Seems to be. I'm pretty excited about it. We'll see.
Yeah. Stay tuned for a big announcement from RITC Cybersecurity as we bring you yet another one of our products and services.
Yay. A next part. I'm reading a lot from this article, but that's because I
Fe-
want to, and I like
Feel
what they
free.
said.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The adversary is already performance enhanced, while defenders struggle with data that's nutritionally deficient
Mm,
for AI consumption. Attackers have optimized their approach with the discipline of elite athletes. They're leveraging AI to create adaptive attacks strategies that are faster, cheaper, and move more precisely targeted than ever before.
mm.
So automating reconnaissance and exploit development to accelerate attack speed, because if you have a program that's just able to do that and you don't have to rely on a human to put whatever in, it's going to go faster, obviously.
Right.
Reducing the cost per attack, increasing potential threat volume. Um, how does that work? Is it because then you can have like multiples going at a time? You don't have to pay someone for multiple attacks? Like, how
Yeah.
does
I
that?
mean, it's all about reduction of labor costs, you know. Um,
AI taking their jobs.
Well, it's funny because I just had this conversation yesterday with a potential business partner who's in the
Hmm.
call center business, and they're using
Hmm.
AI
Hmm.
to cut down about 80% of the questions that come to a call center
Whoa.
because most of the questions that come to a call center are fairly remedial.
Hmm.
So they're using AI to cut down that. And so correspondingly, they're able to cut down the people, the resources,
Hmm.
which is going to impact Southeast Asia, India, and places like that because we don't need the inexpensive labor anymore to answer the remedial questions because the difficult questions are generally answered in the U.S. So that's the whole intent. I mean, but people in the horsewhip industry, said, well, you're going to put us out of business by inventing cars because people won't need horsewhips anymore. And people are still buying horsewhips, just not as many. Cars still exist. It's just you have to adapt and you have to have your niche and you have to have your reason for it. There's times those are going to be needed, but you need people. And let me not gloss over that. You need people,
Hmm.
um, and you need to invest in the people that you keep. So,
Yeah, this that reminded me of when we were working with a client and trying to get on a call with help desk and just going through the automation over and over. It's so frustrating.
oh yeah, yeah,
So I'm wondering if for a little while, until it's kind of people like to talk to people,
hmm
you know, it's different, and so I'm wondering if there's going to be a longer transition with that, where people might almost like companies will market that they still have a person
maybe,
that
yeah.
you could talk to, because
Talk to a human.
I don't know, but maybe I'm just old. Like I
Hey,
bring that up to like
I
my kids
remember
or
when you
something.
dialed zero and got an operator. Okay.
Yeah, right.
On a rotary phone. For those who don't know what that is, it was a phone that had like a dial on it with numbers, and it was attached to the wall.
That's funny.
So, and you called 411 or
Hmm.
1411, whatever it was,
Four. I thought it was
the
411.
411. Yeah, and got information. And then there was a person that did that. And I remember when they
Hmm.
started outsourcing it, and we were trying to go to the Wigwam and trying to get the phone number for the Wigwam, which is a big resort in Arizona. And the gentleman in India that was acting as the 411 resource said, "You want to go to the wigwam?"
The wigwam.
Yeah. So, but eventually that has gotten all, I mean, now it's I'll Google it or whatever and find the number on Yelp or wherever. But I mean,
Hmm.
people still have jobs. But when it comes to IT, you got to train your people. You got to take care of your people, and those people that you are worth investing in. I think what'll actually happen is it'll be thinning the herd of a certain point. You've got a lot of dead weight
Hmm.
in IT. In all honesty, I love my IT brother and sisters, but there's a lot of dead weight.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, there's a
It's
lot
bad.
of C and D players out there that are in A and B roles because they're required to be, and they're just not up for it.
Mm.
Um, there's
Have you tried
also,
turning it off and on again?
yeah, exactly. No, sir, hitting
Just
it with a baseball bat is not going to fix it. Yeah.
um, sorry, go
That's the
ahead.
that's a no, it's funny because that reminds me of an old story about there's a lady who comes into tech support and says, I can't figure out where to put my CD. And they're like, well, do you press the button on the side? She said the one next to the coffee holder.
I'm sorry, what?
It's the old CD players that were in the front of computers. When you pressed the button, they came out and they had a hole in the middle that would fit a coffee cup.
Oh,
So, yeah,
that's funny.
yeah, yeah, it's an old joke, but yeah, yeah. It was back when people used AOL and dial up, and I got 56K, man. I'm killing it.
What?
Yeah,
56.
yeah,
Dang. Well, uh, yeah, we were talking about this uh, AI
yeah,
and what you feed it. You are what you
yes,
eat.
yes,
News story. I don't know. We've
yeah,
been here for a while, so.
yeah. I think what it comes down to is yes, if you're using pre-trained AI, you got to have good data sources for it.
Hmm.
But the problem is, you can have the best data sources in the world. It still takes humans' hands to interpret it and make the fix.
Hmm.
AI can fix certain things. You can make an adjustment on a router. You can do that, but no one's going to, you can't unplug and replug a cable. You can't be hands on a computer with AI. You can't, there's things that you just can't do, and you have to understand. And sometimes the computer's just plain old wrong.
Hmm.
Sorry. I apologize to our AI overlords, but
I know, shh, they're listening.
I know, but no, they're wrong.
It might be that way someday because we're obviously not going fast enough and keeping
Well,
up.
Skynet. So
Hmm.
when
All
all
right, well,
Terminators look like Mari.
just they better be like jacked though. I want to have like buff
Guns.
arms. And,
Yeah.
yeah, literal guns. Not decent.
You're gonna be one of those polymorphic mimetic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously. No.
Yeah.
Moving on. Next news story, last news story, because I only did three today, which is probably good because I'm talking slow today, and we hung on to that last one for a while.
Yeah.
So okay.
Well, that's all the Quaaludes you took this morning with your coffee.
Oh, that's what it was. Right.
Yeah.
Ah,
Keep
okay.
telling you uppers before the podcast, Quaaludes after the podcast.
I know. I just can't remember. You tell me at the wrong time. You
I'm
got to tell
sorry.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The yellow baggie after the red baggie before.
Oh man, what a life.
Make sure to wash down with
Okay.
alcohol.
I've got. No, I don't. My Red Bull's gone. Okay. Okay. Shoot. Now I'm thinking of Wolf of Wall Street. That.
Yeah, I know. Remember that? That was classic.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's focus.
Yeah.
Uh, this one, oh shoot, I did all of them from the Hacker News this week. I usually
That's all
try
right.
to pull from a few different, but
Got to give some love to those guys.
apparently I didn't. Well,
Yeah.
I liked all the ones they had.
Yeah.
Anyway, attackers use fake OAuth apps with Tycoon Kit to breach Microsoft 365 accounts. So,
Mm.
okay, I saw there's a phishing kits I want
Hmm.
to ask you about. So hang on just a second. Okay. Cybersecurity researchers have detailed a new cluster of activity where threat actors are impersonating enterprises with fake Microsoft OAuth applications to facilitate credential harvesting as part of an account takeover attack. The fake Microsoft 365 applications impersonate various companies, including RingCentral, SharePoint, Adobe, and DocuSign.
Just
Yikes.
small companies.
Yeah, no big deal. Proofpoint said in a Thursday report. So yeah, that's a lot. The ongoing campaign, first detected in early 2025, is designed to use the OAuth applications as a gateway to obtain unauthorized access to users' Microsoft 365 accounts by means of phishing kits like Tycoon and ODX that are capable of conducting multi-factor authentication, MFA phishing. Have we talked about this? Phishing kits?
We've never talked about them specifically. No, I mean they were kind of part of that first one in the browser exploit,
Yeah,
so they
okay.
kind of went together. But um, yeah, I mean, so what do you do? What if you do if you're a hacker and your bread and butter's been phishing all along because you have all these people that just live on passwords? Well, all of a sudden everybody's got MFA of some kind because they're like,
Hmm.
oh, this will solve everything. You develop these kits that can downgrade to OAuth, or they can do whatever. I mean, that's the problem out there with nation states that are doing the hacking, and then they make these tools available on the dark web.
Hmm. Because
So,
they have the money and resources to create these programs, and then they're just like,
I mean, I'm
fly
pretty
free,
sure.
little birdie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. China has thousands of people, if not more, sitting around doing nothing but this kind of work. You know.
Dang.
Now, the NSA does the same thing, except we always, the Americans, sit here and complain like we're these poor, abused, you know, we don't do
We're good
anything
at
to
that.
anybody. And, we're just victims and stop kicking sand in our faces. In reality, we wrote most of the stuff. So, I mean, the top two are us and Israel. It's not like you know, China and Russia and, close, are, third and fourth, but it's us and Israel that are the top two with this stuff.
So, why is security falling so far behind?
I think it's complacency. But the other thing is that they're failing to understand the battlefield. And the battlefield is that you have an adversary that has a vote. So everything that you come up with and that you get to market and you write all these white papers about and all this kind of stuff, they're just sitting there taking it and deconstructing and reverse engineering it
Hmm.
because they have nothing better to do. That's what they do. That's what their job is, to try and figure out how to break things. Plus, you have pen testers out there. I mean, we literally teach people how to pen test,
Hmm.
you
Right.
know? And so and then the availability of pen testing tools and hacker tools available on the dark web, you just know where to go. You can get pretty much anything, and then you now have RAS as a service, and
Hmm.
phishing is I mean, so now you've got these guys that are figured out. It's like, well, I'm going to make more money reselling my stuff, and
Sit back
so
and
let them take the
learn.
risk. All I'm
Yeah.
doing is creating a tool, right? So
Genius.
yeah, there's nothing illegal about me creating a tool. If someone happens to, abuse that tool, that's not on me.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
All right. Well, okay. Um, okay, so something else I said, the enterprise security company said it observed the approach being used in email company campaigns, good Lord, with more than 50 impersonated applications. The attacks began with phishing emails sent from compromised accounts and aimed to trick recipients into clicking on URLs under the pretext of sharing requests for quotes or business contract agreements.
mhm.
Um, anyway, so yeah, that's basically all I have for this one. But I didn't. I'm still just stuck on these phishing kits. Is that basically just like uh, ransomware as a service? It's just like another version.
No, you just buy a kit that has all the components for phishing, and it's kind of like the phishing tools that you get from, KnowBe4 or whatever. It comes with a kit. You design your tool. You design, like we used to design our own emails so you could custom make them to the
Hmm.
company.
Hmm.
So here's your kit. Now you just put all the stuff together in it. and see what you can exploit. See if you can get people to click. That's the white side of it. The dark side of you take those tools, you add that kit, and then you add additional things to it. And even in the base Kali Linux and Parrot distros for pen testing, pen testing in air quotes. You didn't see my air quotes. Pen testing, distros, Unix distros. It has those tools in there for free.
Oh.
So you just can build it. You create a mail server, you send that out there, and you load it with this toolkit, and it's just like any other toolkit. So I mean, it's taking a commercially available tool that is meant for training, and it's perverting it to, being used for hacking.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. We'll learn you up on that soon, and then you will be Dark Mari. You will be Scourge of the interwebs.
That sounds great. The whole villain era. I'm looking forward to that. That sounds really fun.
Yeah. 30s are going to be awesome.
I don't know at the rate I'm going. I might be past that. Okay, moving on.
You'll be hacking Granny.
Maybe. Okay, topic for this week. Incident response plans, IRPs. They're good for detecting, managing, and recovering from cybersecurity incidents such as data breaches, malware, infections, and unauthorized access. I got back on track here.
Okay.
The purpose of having an IRP is to minimize damage and downtime, contain and eradicate threats, recover operations quickly, preserve evidence for legal or forensic use, comply with regulations like HIPAA, PCI-DSS, NIST, etc., protect organizational reputation. Do you have anything to add?
I think you pretty much covered it. I mean, that's the intent, is to, have a plan when the shit hits the fan. So,
Yeah.
you don't want to be making this up as you go along. I was just explaining it to a client yesterday, and they're like, well, do we really need a crisis communication plan? It's like, well, you want to make that stuff up when your company's falling down around you?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd recommend it. I think it's funny because it's very specific. What we do is very specific.
Yeah.
So when people are like, do we need that? I'm like, why are we here?
Yeah. You're paying us to be here. Perhaps you should listen to us.
What are we doing here? I don't know.
The client I had the other day for a HIPAA thing, and they're like, well, we don't want to do an assessment. It's like, well, what did you buy? What?
What?
Am I supposed to just guess?
Yep. That's it. Just guess.
So when the auditor comes in, it's going to be like, we think we're fine.
We don't have any evidence to give you.
But take our word for it. We're okay. That'll be $28,000, please.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Key components for an IRP. I'm not going to stop.
I know. That's become part of the lexicon, just like fly fishing.
Yep. Yeah. IRP. And I'm just... Anyway. Okay. Number one. Preparation. Define roles and responsibilities. Train all staff. Everyone. Train them all.
Yes. Not just focus on IT. Everybody.
No. Everybody. Train all staff and conduct simulations, set up detection tools, backups, and communication protocols.
Yep.
2, identification. Detect and confirm whether an incident has occurred. Determine type, scope, and severity.
Yep.
I'll leave a little pause at the end.
Oh.
Just in case you have something to add.
Well, yeah. I mean, you do have to. I mean, so you don't want your users determining the scope, but you want to have an idea of what an issue actually is, what the difference is. I can't find an email that I know I sent, which you may not have, is not a security incident. Your computer rebooting multiple times. Yeah. Computer rebooting multiple times and suddenly acting slowly. That could be something wrong.
Okay.
Those kind of things. So it's just an understanding of what they need basic understanding, but you also need to put guidelines in for the help desk to say, if this happens more than once, this is now a level 2. And this is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
that's helpful.
yeah.
Number 3, containment. So they listed, I found um, suggestions. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
For short term and long term. Short term, isolate affected systems and prevent spread, and long term would be implement fixes while maintaining business continuity. That's very glossed over.
Yeah, there's a lot underneath that to unpack.
Yeah, so we can get into that if you want. I don't know if you want to.
Sure.
Okay, so then can you give me, I think you can, give
Yeah.
me a few examples of a short term containment strategy or things that could happen, maybe.
So short term is a computer or a subset of your computers have malware on them, and then you contain that by some people's antivirus software has sandboxing where it will do it automatically, or you
Hmm.
can literally remove them from the internet or your internal network, and so it is therefore contained,
Hmm.
and so that is containing it, and then you can eradicate it from there. Or you can limit it to certain areas. But I mean, it's all about just cutting off its egress into anything else.
And a long term.
A long-term incident typically is termed a disaster, right? Anything over 48 hours I would call a disaster. Like if you lose functionality, you lose a building, you lose a switch, you lose your data center, you lose a server that's critical. Any of those things, that would be more along the lines of a long-term disaster.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
So you need a disaster recovery plan, business continuity plan, and an ERP. But right now we're talking about ERPs. Another day
Right.
will be DR and BC.
That's right. Just talking about Wild West, wider. Okay. For eradication, remove malware or attackers from systems.
Hmm.
Identify root causes and eliminate vulnerabilities. Um, remove them.
Yes.
What does that mean? How do you do that?
Well, the easiest way to remove a hacker from your system is to remove the system from existence, right?
Oh,
I mean, that's the
okay.
easiest thing is just wipe the device and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're going to have to hunt for it to see if they're anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on the quality of your antivirus software and your desktop
Oh,
manager, it may not have gotten off the desktop. But if it's gotten off the desktop, then you got to track that thing down inside the environment. So you're going to have to do analysis, root cause analysis, or not root
mm-hmm.
cause analysis. That's the basic analysis of how did this happen. You're going to have to do a ton of analysis to figure out what the markers are of a virus, what's behaving badly, what's behaving wrongly. And, you may have to, lock down access to all unaffected systems just to be safe, which could, in theory, depending on how draconian you want to be, maybe shutting down all your functional side of the
Mm-hmm.
business, which
Yikes.
would take you offline while you remediate or while you eradicate those.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yikes. All right.
yeah, and then root cause analysis is very simply how did this happen and how do we prevent it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. 5, recovery. Restore systems from backups. Monitor for any signs of lingering threats.
Hmm.
Validate systems are clean and functioning. So we kind of went into that a little bit.
Yeah, but backups are critical, and most people forget to back up their systems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't forget to back them up. What they don't do is test them test the backups to make sure that those actually are effective and they're not
Oh.
corrupted, right? So the first thing that an attacker is going to
Mm-hmm.
do is go for your backups because if I can get rid of your backups and then lock your system down, you've got nothing to go back to.
Do people normally keep backups stored on their devices?
No, they should be backed up to another drive. They should be immutable, which means they can't change, they can't be overwritten. Um, they can't be, they should be. A lot of times, we recommend, and I'm going to give really away a secret of the trade, is that it should be, and depending on what you're doing, like I've had people that are like, well, we don't, so one example, I'm in AWS, I have an Azure region where I put my backups with a completely ID that has nothing to do with anything. Another option is if you have something like Veeam that's accessed from a computer inside your environment,
Mm-hmm.
you create a device or a ID that has not on the domain that is simply for that computer, and that's how you access your backups. because it's not exploitable. You can't get to it through exploiting the environment. You have to go after that.
Right.
You can go old school, which, I highly recommend still. And, everybody laughs at this stuff, but it's like, there's a reason it worked, right? You take a copy, take it completely offline and store it somewhere because they ain't going to hack a CD or a DVD or a tape or whatever. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. Floppy disk, a lot of floppy disks.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, yeah, that makes
Floppy
sense.
disk, limp disk, whatever.
6. Lessons learned. Conduct a post-incident review. Update the ERP based on what worked and what didn't. Document findings and improve processes.
Yep. So that's the root cause analysis. There always should be an after-action report after everything. And after any kind of incident, there should be an after-action report. What went well? What went wrong? What was the root cause? But how did our people behave? What process do we need to fix? Did this process work? But, a lot of that can be done with incident response tabletops. So,
yeah.
And,
practice disaster.
Yeah, exactly. And it should be randomized practice. It shouldn't be, 2 weeks in advance saying, all right, well, these are the scenarios we're going to deal with. So,
yeah. Fun.
Yeah.
All right. So, without an ERP,
yes,
organizations tend to react chaotically.
Yeah.
Because, obviously.
Yeah.
Suffer longer downtimes, lose more data, damage customer trust, and potentially face legal and regulatory penalties.
Correct.
Anything else you'd like to?
Well, but it also comes down to the fact that everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, according to Mike Tyson. So, that's why you practice them, right? So if you don't practice the incident response tabletop, you're not getting punched in the face. You're not sparring. Your plan is going to fall apart if it's never been tested.
Oh.
If you've got a bunch of resources that are mentioned in incident response table in your ERP that don't exist, or are redundant people, or are people that are out, or whatever, you're kind of in deep trouble because, we're always dependent on Jim. Well, Jim doesn't work here anymore. So now what?
I tell my youngest all the time. She doesn't like doing anything for herself, so I'm like, I'm your mom. It's part of my job to make sure you know how to do these things. You have to practice. You have to show me that you know how to do it. Yeah. You have to practice. You have to put on your own shoes.
Yes. And tie them.
We're all just children.
Yes. Just bigger versions.
Yeah.
You just get hairier as we get older.
That's true.
Oh, you shaved today.
I did. Thanks for noticing. All right. Well, I've got some questions. That's all I've pulled together for incident response plan. So if you have anything else that's standing out that you would like to put out there for that, now's your time to shine.
Words of wisdom.
That's it. Your words of wisdom. Our words of wisdom.
Our words of wisdom. No, I mean, write the plan down. Test the plan. Make sure you know the plan. Test it quarterly. But going back to something Mari said earlier is that train everybody on it. You don't just train your IT staff over and over again.
No.
You bring in different departments. You bring in your analytics staff. You bring in your financial team. You bring in your whatever. We used to train with one client, their data team, and it's like, well, you guys write all these stored procedures and you create all these Tableau things. All right, well, what happens if stuff stops working? It's not we go scream at IT because you're the ones responsible for it. Oh. So what's your plan? Well, we don't have a plan. We rely on IT. And it's like, well, IT doesn't have access to these servers other than for ping, power, and pipe. So what are you going to do? Oh, well, we're going to call Cynthia. Well, what, Cynthia's got all the fixes? And it's like, well, no, she knows who to call. And it's like, well, no, that's not how this works. So, Your ERP can't be call Cynthia. You know?
Call Cynthia.
Yeah.
Not sufficient.
No, no.
All right.
So
Speed round.
sure.
Okay. Incident response plan questions. We
Okay.
got 10 of them.
Okay.
I'm going to ask the question, and you have 2.5 seconds to answer. Are you ready?
Do I have a buzzer I have to press too?
Yeah. No. Just kidding.
Jeopardy.
Yeah.
What is ERP for 1,000, Alex?
Go ahead. No. Okay. Number 1. What is an incident response plan? What
Answer
is an
response.
ERP?
What is an ERP? An ERP is a detailed document that explains how you're going to deal with um, disruptions in your environment as far as productivity, functionality, or security.
This is a test question. What are the 6 main phases of an ERP?
Detection, analysis, remediation, eradication, analysis. What do I miss? I miss them all.
I think you missed them all. Just kidding. I put the document down. I don't have it pulled up anymore.
Okay.
Preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, lessons learned is what I
Right.
found.
Okay.
But I mean, you've been doing this longer than me, so maybe you know better.
I just don't know all the language, the famous language that you know. I'm
Yeah.
just a simple IT guy.
Okay. Guess what I just did? I just got rid of those questions. So
Uh-oh.
you just pull those up real quick. Okay. So those are the six main phases.
Okay.
3. Why is the preparation phase important?
Preparation phase, so you can look at all contingencies and see how you can deal with any kind of specific incident, right? And you got to
Yep.
prepare yourself. You got to understand what your contingencies are. You know, just like creating that crisis community plan, crisis communication plan. You got to know where your backups are. You got to know where are you keeping your administrative passwords offline in a lockbox somewhere? You know, those kind of things. And if so, who has access to the lockbox?
Everyone.
We used to have a client that kept it in a safety deposit box in the bank, and there were
Okay.
2 people that had access. And my question was always, well, what if
Nice.
both of you are not available? Well, we'll never not be available. You know that for certain. You drive a motorcycle. You drive 2 hours to work. There's dead
Oh.
spots in cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
This guy has a
Yikes.
cabin in the woods. Does he always have cell phone? Is he always at his phone? Is he always,
Mm-hmm.
So
Number 4. Who leads the incident response team?
that is actually subjective to the company in of itself. You know, a lot of times it's going to be, well, there's going to be a director or somebody else that's going to stand up and it's going to be me. In reality, it should be the guy closest to the ground and then reports it up. So, you know, in military terms, it would be the NCO that would lead the team. And then they would report to the lieutenant, captain, whatever, and they would report it on up from there. But I mean, you would ideally a supervisor or a manager, somebody that can make a decision anyway, that can pull the team together, the full team together.
5. What's the goal of containment?
Goal of containment is to prevent additional contamination of the environment
Mm,
and exploitation.
that makes sense. 6. How often should the ERP be tested?
Quarterly or
7.
after a major change.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. 7. What is a tabletop exercise?
Tabletop exercise is when you go through instant scenarios and see how you respond and what your planned responses are. If you're smart, you get somebody like RITC, who's going to throw you a ton of curveballs.
Yeah.
Because Mari's got a mean streak and she puts them together and they're pretty nasty. So,
I'm just trying to help you out.
yeah, even our deep techie guys are like, what? You know, we had one that threw this really good company for a loop for a good, what was it, 25, 30 minutes? They're like, what
It was
is this?
It was a minute. It was
Yeah,
yeah. It was
yeah,
a little bit. I was proud of that. I
yeah.
didn't mean to make them worry, but I feel like they're better prepared now.
No, and you need to do that. And it's like, I did one on them of the AI deep fake one. And they were like, well, how do we do
Mm.
that? you know,
Yikes.
you
That's
know,
kind of fun.
yeah.
Luckily, it's just practice. It's just practice.
Yeah. But you got to get people to think, right? I mean, and this stuff is being pulled from the news or what, it's not like we're writing science fiction here.
Right.
It's real things that have happened.
Yeah, we're not writing a zombie apocalypse.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I think it's helpful too to have a third party help with those because you have people in your environment who kind of is
Yeah.
like an echo chamber sort of. So
hmm
if you get someone from the outside, they'll give you some new ideas, new scenarios.
Well, yeah, I 100% agree with that. That is an excellent point. And it's that the third party isn't caring about saving face,
Right.
right? They have no stake in this game other than to make you sweat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah. Although our IR tabletops get really easy right around contract renewal time.
That's gonna change.
Yeah.
No, jeez. 8. What's a common mistake in incident response plans?
Assuming you can't have capacities you don't, not having the appropriate team together, um, not identifying the resources you need.
Mm, yeah,
So,
thinking you're more prepared than you are.
yep, yep. Yeah, your
9.
egos will always destroy you.
Every time.
Yep.
How can a company reduce breach costs?
By not getting breached.
Good one.
How do you reduce breach costs? Well, I mean, you can offload some of that risk by insurance, but in reality, the best thing is by preparing for an instant response, having your ERP up, tuned, and all that kind of stuff, but training your teams on them,
Mm-hmm.
having appropriate countermeasures in place, having appropriate protections. Tools do have a value and that they do protect you from certain things. So having the appropriate tools in place, but having your you know security training is also important of your users, which will mitigate and minimize some of the dumb mistakes that users will make.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
10. Last question. Why is documentation during an incident critical?
Oh, so you can document what happened, and it's actually recommended to be taken in a notepad as opposed to in an electronic format. You're also going to need it for your insurance liability. You're going to need it
Okay.
for your root cause analysis. You're going to need it so you can completely retrace your steps, what you did, because if during those steps you make things worse,
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure you don't do that again.
That makes sense. It could be like a lesson plan. You can learn
Yeah.
from it.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Yep.
That's all I've got.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. On that note, we've talked about ERPs, incident response plans. Hopefully, you've learned something, grown, cried, laughed, and it's become part of you. I know that we'll remember this podcast for the rest of our lives because we've lived it. On that note, hasta la vista, babies.